Hi, this is John Greenway, Manager of Training and Development for Essroc. I'd like to take a few minutes and talk to you about the performance appraisal process. Many of you last year in 2012 attended the go-to training sessions that we held for performance appraisal. Some of this is going to be a review and recap of that, and I'll briefly discuss about any changes for 2013. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the items that we did last year during the go-to training is we conducted some polls, and here are some of the results. Reviews are done once a year and treated like an event. Coaching and follow-up does not occur during the year. It's much easier just to focus on the positive and not talk about the negative. No one wants to tell someone the tough stuff. Here's something that we need to keep in mind about human nature. An innate part of human nature is the continuous desire to do better and be part of something bigger than ourselves. To do this effectively, we desire both positive and negative feedback from our leaders. And this feedback is critical. It should be an ongoing process that takes place throughout the year. It's a constant dialogue. It's an understanding of how we're doing to meet the objectives that have been set forth in the performance appraisal process. It's a coaching process. It's a process focused at helping an individual to be successful at what they're doing. The goal of a performance appraisal is raise the bar. We want to measure performance. We want to identify performance that exceeds target. We want to define behavior, skills, and attributes, both positively and negatively. We want to assign challenges, job, task, projects. Give feedback and reward performance. Remember, this is a process. It starts with the review of the performance objectives for the rating year. As you get ready to write the performance appraisals for 2012, keep in mind those objectives should have been written a year ago, and that's where your focus should be, on comparing those objectives for that rating year. We assess the behavior against objectives in the Intelligente competencies. We define strengths and opportunities. We agree on actions to improve and enhance performance. We define the performance objectives for the future. As we get towards the end of writing the performance appraisal for 2012, we start the mutual dialogue and we start to define the objectives for 2013. And then as we go through 2013, we review and provide feedback throughout the year. This is the overall process for continually improving someone's performance, and it goes from year to year. It starts with a SMART objective. A SMART objective is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Here's an example. Manage all air and water quality according to the local permits and Essroc environmental policy and procedures, ensuring 100% compliance. Let's examine how this is written. First of all, it starts with an action verb. Action verbs are very important because it denotes the action that the person needs to take to accomplish the objective. The example here has manage, but other action verbs could be implement, engage, develop. The next part of the statement is it states what needs to be done, air and water quality. But it follows up by saying, how is it measured? What does success look like? Again, performance objectives are very important, and they are the foundation to a good performance appraisal process. One of the things that we've done, if you want more information on objective writing, is we've also created a YouTube video which is totally focused at writing performance objectives. One last statement about performance objectives. Make sure they're tied into the individual's job description. As you assess behavior against objectives in Intelligente competency, keep the following rater errors in mind. The halo and horn effect occurs when a performance by an employee in one area distorts the rater's judgment in another area. Spillover effect occurs when conclusions from past performance appraisals interfere with judgments on the current appraisal. Status effect occurs when people in a higher status jobs automatically receive higher ratings than people in the lower status jobs. Remember, all people take pride in the jobs that they do. Central tendency effect occurs when raters judge all employees at the middle or average point, or harsh and lenient. People all have different levels of performance and should be evaluated according to their level of performance. Recent event effect occurs when a recent event, problem, or situation, positive or negative, distorts the rater's judgment for the entire review period. Again, these rater errors are something that you want to keep in mind. Here are some things that you can do to help prevent that. Number one, sit down with the person that you're going to rate. Go back and, survey or focus on establishing what took place through that entire year. Write down all the different things. Establish that year. Have them write their own performance appraisal and then compare with what you have. This will help you look at the entire process and keep in mind all the different things that took place through that entire rating process. And of course, if you've been talking and dialoguing throughout the year, that will also build on this process as well. When you assess the behavior against the objectives and the Italcementi competencies, and you start to actually write the evaluation, here are some things you want to keep in mind. Remember, define what they actually accomplished per the objectives, their performance. Be specific and fact-based. State what has been done. Don't make judgmental statements to why you think the objectives were met. Don't try to guess their motivation. Who, what, where, when, and why. If it's not complete, state why. If you've been talking throughout the year, nothing you put in writing should be a surprise. Take the time and capture the performance. Praise the individual if it's warranted. Remember, praise is very important for people, their self-confidence and their self-esteem. As you assess the behaviors against objectives and Italcemente's competencies, keep in mind the Italcementi competencies. And I suggest you sit down and review those competencies. Remember, thinking global, acting local. Thinking global is that ability to look at the big picture, but then acting local is focusing at what needs to be done in your specific environment and making sure it connects to the big picture. Professional excellence. Professional excellence is looking at those specific competencies that person needs to be effective in their job, how they solve problems, how they organize their work, how they do those different things that make them professional in what they do. Team spirit is that ability of understanding how well they work with others and within the team. As you go through the performance appraisal process, you're going to define the strengths and weaknesses. Areas of excellence of proven skills. Here is where you pinpoint this individual's talents. Remember, a performance appraisal is a historic document, and this helps us look at this individual over a period of time and say, hey, where is this person's potential? How does this person tie into succession planning? Area to improve or enhance. This is where you start to pinpoint the behavior that the individual must learn to control or improve. Remember, most people's behavior is well defined before they come to the workplace. The goal isn't to try to change somebody's personality or personality type, but it is focused at helping them understand what they need to do to control their behavior and be the most productive within the workplace. Short and concise and focused statements. Agree on actions to improve and enhance performance. Remember, you want to come up with a strategy, a learning strategy that helps develop the person over the year. It may start with a training class, but remember, you want to then move it to the actual workplace so that the person applies what they learn in the training class to the actual project or assignment that they may have. You may even want to involve other people who are subject matter experts and help coach. You as the leader can also coach as well. Bottom line, you both need to discuss and come to a mutual agreement. Rate the individual. Remember, call it the way it is. Do not inflate the performance appraisal. Inflation is a huge problem in many organizations, and it causes a lot of frustration. For those individuals that are high performers, it's frustrating for them to see that other people get the same rating that they receive. Remember, we want to call it performance the way it is. Note for 2013, we have changed the 5 rating blocks. If you look at those particular ratings that we have up there, did not meet expectations, met some expectations but did not meet others, met expectations and exceeded some, and exceeded all expectations. This is a change from the form of 2012. If your form doesn't say this, please contact Human Resources and we'll get you the correct form. Once you've completed writing the performance appraisal, what you want to do is now look at the objectives for 2013. So as you write those objectives, build on the objectives from the previous year. Raise the bar. Include actions that were defined to improve performance. Match the objectives to the New Year's challenges. What's been the changes in the business? What do we have to focus on? Jointly develop objectives together. It should be a mutual dialogue. Remember, in some cases, the individual will need to break these objectives down into objectives for their direct reports. Directors and vice presidents, remember, you have several different levels where you're going to have performance appraisals, where they take those broad strategic objectives that you've written within your performance appraisal and you've agreed to with your boss, and it's going to break down into the business. And you're going to have a collective focus on what you want to accomplish within the department. Make sure you check that you have this cascading effect and these common threads. Review and provide feedback during the year. My recommendation is you meet at least once a quarter. And you want to relax a person, you want to praise their positive behavior and accomplishment. You want to ask them how they are doing towards their goals and objectives for 2013. Then be prepared to listen. Provide advice or insight into concerns or frustrations. Show your support. Be candid and direct, but positive in your approach. Don't make judgmental statements. Again, please, don't focus on what you think their motivation is. Listen to gain understanding. Ask questions that cause the individual to think about what they are doing and correct their actions or behavior. Coach, don't direct. Make sure you get back to the individual on any item you agreed to provide support on or need to change per your discussion. Again, the performance review is a process. It's a continual improvement process that goes from one year to the next year. In conclusion, this is a two-way exchange. With responsibility comes accountability, and we need to hold people accountable, but do it in a positive way that helps develop the individuals and improve their performance. Make performance objectives SMART. They need to be specific, they need to be targeted. Remember what Stephen Covey says, start with the end in mind. Nothing should be a surprise. You should be communicating throughout the year. The goal of a performance appraisal, raise the bar. It's a process that takes place over a year, not an event. Define development opportunities. And remember, the deadline is March 15th to HR. Please get them in on time. Thanks, folks, and have a great day.